Well, we're back once again with no video camera. My apologies in the background right there. Always fucking it up as usual. Can't get anything right. But there we go. It is on yet again. I'm in desperate need of a haircut for what little hair that I have left, and I see a lot of hate coming in from all places around the world right now. I love this. We have some hate from Netherlands. We have some hate from Belgium. We have some hate from Anna Marie Islands. We have some hate from Wenham Weasel. What the fuck is that, man? I don't even know where it is. Probably doesn't even exist. Doesn't matter. Anyways, and hate from Illinois as well. What's up, Mr. Cavman7? How you doing, dude? How are you doing? Good morning to everyone out there in cryptocurrency, in the cryptocurrency world. Bombats Berkeley. Sounds like some reggae-inspired name. I've been listening to a lot of reggae-inspired AI mashups recently, man. I don't know what it is. I'm addicted to it. I'm absolutely addicted to it, where they take like these classic, metal bands or rock bands or even rap, and then they just make it into reggae, and for some reason it works. And I don't even like reggae. I don't even really like reggae, but it works really, really well. Anyways, good to see a lot of people in here. We got hate from Scottsdale, Arizona. I've heard a lot of good things about Scottsdale, Arizona. We actually even visited Scottsdale recently. It was very nice, honestly. It was very, very nice. It wasn't really what I expected. But at the same time, I get it, man. I get why so many people are trying to, move there, to generally these places. Free Narnia, like the Chronicles of Narnia. Is that what you mean? Hold on. Let me turn off my, my Discord sounds in the background. That's going to be very fucking annoying. We're having some good conversations in the Discord, regarding some gaming, some super nerdy shit, talking about Total War Third Age, my absolute biggest nerdy obsession. I can't get enough of it, man. I really can't get enough of it. But it is what it is. Hate from London. Yes, we got the UK people in here as well. Those beautiful Southern Asian men. We love them. And the cesspool of corruption in California. Yeah, man, you're telling me. Holy shit, man. It's very unfortunate what's happening in California because like structurally, like the actual or geographically, it's one of the most beautiful places in the whole United States. Everything else, though, is absolute fucking garbage from what I see, man. Hate from south of France. I hear the south of France is actually the best part of France. I've been there once when I was younger, man. When I was like 11 or 12, we went on this massive France trip. And I remember we stayed in like this like former, I guess, chateau in the south of France. And there's all like this cool medieval shit around there. I loved it, man. I couldn't get it. Like, that's probably where my love of medieval shit comes from, to be honest. Hate from North Carolina. Fuck yeah, North Carolina. Good stuff as well. We're close to you over here. Let the hate in your heart. Yes, indeed. Let the hate. We're always everyone's always talking about love. Love this, love that. Why not balance it out with a little bit of hate? We need some more hate in our lives. You need to have balance, okay? That's what the whole story of Star Wars is. You have to balance the dark side with the light side. Otherwise, you are not balanced, and not balanced is bad. That's what creates all of these internal wars. So we need the love and we need the hate as well. Each thing in their own places at the right time in the right amount. That's what it is. Stay in Marseille. Hate from Belgium. Yes, we got many hates from Belgium as well, and from Cyprus. We actually stayed in Cyprus a couple of years ago, or I guess it was like 3 years ago. I loved Cyprus, to be honest. It was absolutely gorgeous. That's actually what California does look like, to be honest, man. Really, really cool. Lithuanians in the house as well. You sound like you have the name of a true Lithuanian, James Hicks. Indeed, man. Here from LA. Yeah, man. There we go. Some LA people. It must be early as hell for you. I do imagine it's 6 a.m. I'm up at 6 a.m., but I think most of the world is probably not, or at least not wanting to be. I love being up early, man. It is the best. It is the best. Get everything done nice and early, and then chill the rest of the day. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Sharding from Argentina. I don't think that's how you do it. Maria. And some hate from Phoenix, Arizona as well. Yeah, man. We visited there. It wasn't anything like I expected, man. I thought it was pretty damn cool. In a small balloon. Indeed, man. Indeed. Anyways, there are several things to be speaking about today. I kind of want to focus today's live stream a little bit more on the short-term timeframes for Bitcoin in particular, just because yesterday I went over like a very higher-term timeframe top-down look. And, in general, those sort of things are going to take those can take some months to play out. In today's video, I want to be speaking a lot more about the very, very short term here. I was actually going through some of MetaSignals tweets earlier today, some of which I didn't even see until this morning. And they've been killing it recently. I'm waiting for a fucking string of losses to accompany all of these wins. I mean, shit, man. I feel like they haven't even had like a decent loss in, at least for the major pairs like Bitcoin in, I don't know, it feels like a month or two, maybe even 3. 3, something like that, man. Just hidden all of these ones over here. But yeah, you know, at some point, these statistics are going to be what the statistics are because, look, I mean, when you got a win rate of 75%, you know, that means there's going to be some losses. Where the fuck are they? Where the fuck are they? As this one does hit target number 2 with flying colors. Target number 3, I do think is actually a possibility here as well. I was actually looking at MetaSignals to kind of judge, you know, if I think that there's going to be a short-term bounce for Bitcoin, you know, likely to be a short-term bounce, you know, where are the probabilities for these targets? But target number 3 is quite low. That's 73.5% almost, or sorry, 37.5%. I am dyslexic as all hell. Unfortunately, it's, as you can see, it's like a real issue. Anyways, getting emails all the time. Enough emails. No more emails. Emails need to be banned from all of the world. More shitcoin setups. Oh, and they also called the downside on Ethereum. Nice. Nicely done right there. Anyways, and this one already hit as well. So I guess I'm kind of flying blind here because they've already hit theirs. But I suppose we can do something with our usual tools over here for Bitcoin. It does look like in the short term, Bitcoin will probably retest this low, but is it going to be heading lower first before bouncing? I still am more likely to look for a bounce off that weekly 21 EMA here on the first pass. It almost always is going to happen. Doesn't mean that, you know, the bounce is going to turn into reversal, but, you know, bounces can, I mean, they can travel up quite a fair bit. And it's certainly not uncharacteristic for Bitcoin to at least test the open from a month-to-month basis. So the open of August was 115,800. So coming into September, you know, if Bitcoin is going to bounce anywhere around there, it actually does make a lot of sense to me. Again, we still got about 4.5 days left for this month of August to close, but, you know, assuming that it closes anything resembling this, anything basically below like 113, 114, then yeah, you know, could easily see a bounce back up there to open up September and then maybe come back down. Maybe, you know, maybe that move happens later in September, maybe it happens early September. I'm kind of biased towards a bounce earlier and then down later, but we shall see. We shall see. James Hicks says Solana is doing surprisingly well. Any MetaSignals? I don't know about that. I didn't see anything on their page. I'm curious if it actually is doing well, if this is just some internet speak. But actually, to be fair, no, it is holding up relatively well. And it's very interesting to see that many of these altcoins, while Bitcoin is more or less, you know, hanging on, clinging on for a major sideways consolidation, a lot of these altcoins are taking the opportunity to make, you know, decent moves to the upside, putting in higher lows within, in this case, a nice daily uptrend. In fact, I think even the weekly is in an uptrend as well. In fact, it is. So, you know, looking at these sort of things, it does make me think, it makes me think two things. One, probably still a bull market. You don't really have you don't see alt rally unless if it is a bull market. But then two, alts typically rally playing catch up to Bitcoin near the end of a general move, which is probably not a good sign. I mean, that's what we did see. For Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was rallying recently around here, this was the top of one of the altcoin schemes. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. A couple times over here, actually, to be fair. Before that, not really much action going on in the altcoin scene, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, do rotations continue on? Yes, I think that still holds with my sort of long-term view on this market that I don't think we're entering into like a bear market or anything like that, or at least not in the way that we've seen in the past. But you know, Bitcoin can spend many months going sideways, and I mean that's more or less a bear market for most people because what's worse than downside? It's boredom. It's boredom going sideways, to be honest. Anyways. Or dyslexic that do yoga called dyslexic. Oh, clever, sir. Very clever. Yeah, I don't really know. I didn't even realize I was dyslexic until I started to like talk more on the internet, and then I realized, fuck, it's bad, man. I'm fucked. Hate from Georgia, y'all. What's up, Stephanie? Stephen Nichols. My bad there. I'm just butchering names left, right, and center as always. Krown, can you check on my grandma? I can. What sort of analysis would you like to do? The moisture levels have never been lower. No, kidding. Okay. Elsa thinks that's funny. Maybe word of 10 billion inflows coming to Solana with ETF approvals imminent. I've heard of this. I've heard of this before. I've also heard the same thing with the Ethereum ETF as well. And what happened with that ETF? It seems like no one gives a fuck, sir. No one gives a fuck. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, man. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, again, Bitcoin's ETF was immediately the most successful ETF in the history of ETFs in markets ever, like literally ever, immediately. Ethereum's ETF's been around for a while now. No one seems to give a fuck. Solana's ETF, I can't imagine. If people don't give a fuck about Ethereum's ETF, I can't imagine they'll give a fuck about Solana's ETF. That's just an intuition. I don't know. I don't know if Solana actually is better than Ethereum or not. Maybe it's just my past conditioning because, you know, I've seen Ethereum around for longer that I just assume that Ethereum is probably more legitimate, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the market will care that Solana is actually getting an ETF. But if it is considered less than Ethereum, then I'd imagine the results will also be much less than Ethereum, as people just do not give a fuck about these things, apparently. It's crazy. It's almost as if you can do all of these projects on a native chain created by, you know, the institutions that would, you know, actually be using these things to begin with, instead of just using some random fucking chain that some asshole made who knows where and who knows what the hell he's doing. I'm sending my jeans. I'm in my cutoff jeans, sending gay love from the Gulf of America. My fucking man. Good to see you as always, Mr. T tonight. we need more cutoff jeans. I know that that's what you fucks over there like in St. Petersburg, but yeah, man, we actually need to visit St. Petersburg. It does look really, really beautiful. No doubt about that, man. 11 ETFs coming. Again, doesn't mean shit, man. How many ETFs does Ethereum have, and how much investment does it actually have? Nothing, my man. I think you are falling prey to marketing schemes. Marketing schemes. Crazy. It's almost as if altcoins are going to do altcoin shit in traditional markets as well. Have you read my newspaper? Is the new, like, have you heard the word of the good Lord? You know, with fucking Jehovah's Witnesses coming to your door, and it's like, now you get mails in your inbox from fucking Hexkins who found your fucking you found your residential mail address through some sort of Coinbase or Ledger hack or some shit like that. Have you heard the good word of Richard Hart? Have you heard the good word of Herpety Derpcoin? Have you heard the good word of Solana, sir? Solana loves you. That is what it is, man. Is the ETH hype all Tom Lee's fault? I don't even know if there really is Ethereum hype. At least Ethereum's price is going up. But if you're talking about the ETFs, no, there seems to be very little of that. What is the ticker for Tom Lee's shitcoin of an ETF or whatever holding that he has? I do want to check it out. I think it's like BMNSR. BMSR. Is this it? No, that can't be it. It's one of these acronyms that is similar to that. When Euphoria, looking at the moon, sir. I mean, sir, people are going to disagree with me on this, but you know, I think that there has been some euphoria in this market. It just hasn't been as much as past ones. But again, very, very difficult thing to measure. So who knows? Who the hell knows? There's no, okay, BMNR. There we go. Okay, Bitmine Immersion Technologies. See how it looks like. Okay, so let's go. Holy shit, man, it gets worse and worse. Okay, so he was around in 2021. So far, pretty bad. I don't know, man. This just looks like every other shitcoin of a chart in traditional markets. I really don't like these sort of moves where it's blow it up and then immediately give almost all of it back. I mean, this thing blew up what? It blew up almost 1,000%. Holy fuck. Comes down 80% within a few days. Usually not a good sign. Usually not a good sign. But of course, you know, there will be bounces here and there, and ultimately, I don't know, this one probably goes back down to where it belongs, which is what most of these things do. Yeah, anyways, please, all caps are GUA. Yes, they are. Yeah, no more all caps. It's annoying as fuck. BMNR, BMSR, BMNR. Yes, there we go. Yeah, can you please open 3-month time frame and see how many months later does the reversal come? From what? From what, sir? From what? There's no such thing as a crystal ball. No matter what time frame you're looking at, man. Unfortunately, can we see the nuclear launch? Oh man, I wish I could, but I actually, I'm still using my laptop that I use when I'm traveling to do all of the videos and do all the streams and whatnot. I'm waiting for my big beast of a computer to arrive, but it's being shipped obviously from Finland, so that's going to take a long time. I mean, shit, it might take like another month, honestly, man. But that's where all of my stuff is. That's where all of the fun. That's where all of the fun is. And unfortunately, I think we'll just need to wait, man. Yes, indeed. First time live, says Jedi's Kirk. Fucking nice, man. Welcome to the live stream, sir. Welcome to the live stream, indeed. Tesla, please. Let's actually look at Tesla. What is this? This is like a nice little cult coin as well, but at least it does well. And yeah, I'm still going to be bullish on this thing, man. Full disclosure, I do hold this as well. I think do I need to disclose if like I hold things in traditional markets? Is that it? Do I have to? I don't know. Anyways, I will. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. In fact, I'm going to put out a video soon about all of my traditional market holdings, just all my long-term investments, basically. And I'll probably put that out this week. And I just finished it and have had the nice AI editor go fully over it. How are you going to leave your PC in Finland? Poor computer. Yeah, man. To be honest, I thought that the whole shipping process would be a lot quicker, but apparently I didn't understand that there's a difference between shipping by a literal ship and an airplane. And apparently I chose the shipping, like the ship, not the airplane ship. Anyways, whatever, man. Life goes on. We shall survive. We shall survive indeed. Where do you think that Ethereum Bitcoin will find its cycle top? I've been pretty much saying the same thing for many moons now about Ethereum Bitcoin. I do think that it goes higher. I don't think it's topped out yet. I think it at least gets to this green moving average here. I think it probably even overshoots that a little bit. I think anywhere between about, let's say 4.7 million Satoshis on the lower end. I think it'll at least get there. I think it could get all the way up here to like 5.5 million Satoshis. But the problem is that this, no matter where you cut it, it's going to be a lower high long term. And, you know, with you already retesting the lower, the last macro low, you already have high, low, lower high, same low. If it rallies up here, which is a big move from where it's at right now, that's, you know, still a 30 to 40% move from where it's at right now. That's a lower high with same lows. But the buys is on a downside. I mean, at least a range play, but, you know, downside would be the buys for overall trend. So yeah, man. It is what it is, I suppose. Choose FedEx. Probably should have done that, actually. Probably should have done that. But yes, it's always a very big warning signal, in my opinion, when I see a lot of these like one-off shitcoins having their big rallies out of nowhere. Because I have seen some of those. Not all of them, but definitely there have been some. You know, and I think a lot of people who are kind of cheering them on in the comment section right now are not realizing that is a very, very bad sign overall. You know, those things typically rally last. And when they rally, it is a signal that things are about to reverse in a devastating way. But like I said, this current bounce, I would imagine it should take at least a little bit of time. Like, it's not going to fucking roll over today or tomorrow this week. You know, hopefully it takes like a week or two, something like that. Patient sedated here for the live. Hell yeah. That's everyone's favorite nurse of the channel, Ben's chair. Fuck yeah. Send that patient into the nether realm and let's talk about some magic internet money, sir. You have your priorities in the right place. Perfect. Fucking perfect, ma'am. Anyways. Good morning, sir and sirs. Mr. Krown, so you're saying we're fact then? No, I wouldn't say. Again, like everything needs to be in a context. Like, I really want to differentiate myself from the ultra herpety derp perma bears who are and probably who have always been calling, you know, cycle over downside 50, 60, 70% from here. I'm not that. I'm not saying that is impossible to happen, but I don't look at things in that lens. I'm still looking at this as an overall uptrend, which it definitely is. I'm still looking at this as overall long-term bullish, but, you know, can we experience another one of these long-form corrections like we saw over here, or even here? And then continue the upside? Yeah, I think that that's actually what's very likely to happen from this current region. How far can things come down? I think that they can come down a pretty decent amount. But, you know, if we were to measure out from the top, the current top, to what I think would be a pretty decent correction would be about $100,000. That's only 20%, 20 to 21%, which for this cycle would actually be a little bit on the lower end as a correction. For example, the last corrective phase that we saw was almost 32%. The one that preceded that was 33.25%. So again, already significantly more. Over here, this one was about 21%. Okay, so a lot closer there. And then we had a couple of 20% corrections right here, and actually, sorry, 3 of them. So that's almost 22. This one over here is about 20-ish. This one over here, I didn't do that prior one right, but it was 20. This one was about 22.5%. So somewhere between there makes sense. You know, that kind of has been the flavor of the cycle, assuming that things do continue on, which I do think that it actually will. Just let some momentum also just cool off for a while, you know, let things go back for a nice little reset and then continue on with the party. You know, maybe that ends up being very late this year, maybe it ends up being very early 2026. I'm very much open to that. You know, remember when the Fed historically reduces interest rates, about a month out from that time is usually down. But if you fast forward a year from that time, it's actually always been up for the past 40 years. if you fast forward 1 year from the first interest rate cut. So again, we don't necessarily know that September is going to be an interest rate cut. Again, that's what makes, these sort of economic events so difficult, because they're very, very subjective, obviously. But if, we lean into the changing of verbiage from Mr. Powell, which is probably a pretty good signal, because he has to lead the market into these things. He has to, because the Fed needs to be super, 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 super transparent in what they intend to do, so that, people basically trust them. Then it would seem to me that September will be a rate cut. So, if we fast forward like a few weeks to a month out from that, probably down. However, if you fast forward a year after that, then it's been up every fucking time for the past 40 years. So that's a stat that I'm not going to be betting against, and why I do think that this market cycle, if it even is a market cycle anymore, if it just continues up kind of like a traditional market ETF from one of the major indices, it's just that grind up with these prolonged sideways and downside moves. Anyways, Bitcoin here does look like the short term is going to probably retest this low or around this low, but I don't think it's going to make new lows just yet. I do think we're in kind of a bouncy period here. Anyways, doesn't it look like a bullish retest of the previous range highs? I don't believe in that kind of stuff, to be honest, man. Is this a bullish retest of this high right here? Maybe. It could be. It's possible for sure. I don't consider things in that regard, man. I feel like that is a recipe for disaster in many cases. Anyways, maybe expand upon that in a deeper video. But the thing is that I kind of have an understanding of where you're probably referencing something like that from. I don't think that you. This sounds terrible when I say it like this, but please, I'm not trying to offend you. I don't think that you thought of that yourself. I think that you heard that from somewhere, and I think I know where you heard it from. And it's a fucking herpety derp retard who has no idea what the hell he's talking about, and probably has no business talking about anything, or at least related to that, because that will go very, very poorly. But is it, yeah, you could kind of consider it, as of this moment. Do I think it's going to work out like that? No, because this is objectively different than many of the prior times that we have seen, to be honest. Anyways, yes, so moving through some of these, moving through, hello, Krown. Would you say closing price line chart to measure correction high and low points hold more or less value than candlesticks? Generally, yes. Lexi P, in general, the closing price is going to have more weight, more value, because that's where, the bots and algos really want price action to be by the end of the period. The intra sort of dildo volatility doesn't really matter or doesn't matter at all for that, obviously. So that will be a little bit more objective, to be fair. Yeah. Krown, why are some people poor and some rich? Why can't we all be poor? Well, we are all poor in some way, whether it be in spirit, whether it be in relationships, but whether it be in finances, whether it be in some facet of life. No one's perfect, ma'am. No one's perfect. I don't know. Why are there poor people and why are some rich? It's because we always compare ourselves to everyone. If we compared ourselves, however, to people of the past, we would all be today saying, holy shit, we are rich as fuck. Like, this is insane. If we all compared ourselves collectively to people even 100 years ago, let alone fucking 200, 300, 400, 500,000 years ago, we'd be like, holy shit, we're living like goddamn kings right now. This is insane. We have drugs that can just get rid of ailments that would have wiped you out without a fucking chance even 100 years ago. Like, that is true wealth for sure. I mean, but we don't think of it that way, obviously, because we compare ourselves to people who have more than us. And really, that's what it comes down to, man. It's all about relativity. It's all about relativity without perspective of the greater whole. I mean, shit, man. Like, if you compare everyone right now compared to the whole history of humankind, we're obviously doing better than 0.0000001% of all humans ever. The only people who are really doing better are like the few people around who are doing better than you. I mean, anyway, so it's probably just a funny comment, but of course my autism fires up. I love the optimistic pessimism. Yeah, something like that, man. Something like that. Actually, I really want to look at this chart right now that just popped up on my screen. Bitcoin versus gold. I think that this is a super interesting chart. I think that just plotting anything versus gold is actually super interesting. And if I'm looking at Bitcoin versus gold, it does honestly look to me like Bitcoin versus gold is putting in a swing high here, and the next move is down. But I am bullish on this chart long term. I just think that this one comes lower first and then tries another upside move. But yeah, looking at it right here, I think a little bit more likely to come back down to about 28.5. So gold probably gains versus Bitcoin. but long term still holds the still holds the uptrend, still bullish overall. I don't know, maybe a 6-month time frame is going to make a little bit more sense on this one. Well, if it does, it's probably not good. Let's go to a different time frame. Come on, confirm my biases. Look, the 12-month is fine, still above the 5 EMA, no problem. That's the real way to do your analysis. Just find something that says what you want. That's the way to do it. Anyways, well said. We are wealthier than we realize. Yeah, we are wealthier than we realize. We just are ungrateful for it and lack massive perspective. I mean, that's what most of this fucking shit is that's going on nowadays anyways, man. People complaining that they're just not the 0.00001% of the world instead of being the 1% of the world. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And that's why, well, we're also fatter as well. In general, we are fatter. We are fatter as well. Even the poor people nowadays are fatter than anyone else. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about our progress? I see fucking homeless people on the streets with iPhones. Okay, I don't know if they're iPhones, but they are smartphones. All the time. And they're fat too. It's not that bad. It's getting better. It's getting better for sure. If you have good health but are not wealthy, covering your basic needs plus a little more, you are still doing better than 99% of the global population. Yes, you are. Again, that's because you are measuring yourself versus other people who are around right now, miss. Unfortunately, there is no perfect way to distribute resources. When you have limited resources and some people put in more effort than other people to use those resources in a productive way, I think it's a good thing that they get rewarded more and in an unfair manner compared to the other people. That's right. Everyone is equal under the law, but we are not equal in terms of value. I mean, I think that's the defining feature of like political parties right now is we should all be equal under the eye of the law. Absolutely. 100%, 100 million % agree with that. Are we all equal in terms of value? Well, what is your value? If your value is related to your productivity, then objectively, no. Some people choose not to be. Some people choose to try more. Some people do get a more lucky start. Absolutely. But everyone can start. And there is stories of everyone from all walks of life attaining absolute insane levels. Crazy. Is there an indicator that you would recommend to use for ranges for providing LP? What's LP? What sort of marketing keyword did I just run into there? Look, if I'm looking, what? Lazy peepee is what. Do you think a laborer puts in less effort than you? It's not about effort, sir. It's about the value that you are creating with that. When you do labor that anyone else can do, then of course that labor is going to be less valuable than something that only someone very specific can do. Duh. Did you think about that for more than 1 fucking second, sir? You idiot. Anyways, waxing philosophical today. What was I going to say? Yeah, as far as recommended indicator for ranges, I think the most newbie-friendly sort of indicator range identifier would be the price action pivots because it tells you about the most recent important range, higher range, low, basically, which also relates to trend. And then, of course, it does extend the most recent the most recent trend lines to reflect that, so you can kind of get an idea of when things are breaking or not. If you want something that's a little bit more advanced, I would go with the HPDR because the HPDR is it's the most beast of beast when it comes to that, but it admittedly is not as newbie friendly, to be honest. It is not as newbie friendly. But if you do understand statistics, if you do understand what these ranges are going over, which we do, of course, go over in the learning materials, but it does take a little bit more effort, to be honest. Where it's a price action pivots, it's like you break it out of the box. It kind of just tells you, yes, you can apply, some more technical know-how to that as well. Absolutely, you're going to become more powerful in that way. But this thing requires a little more effort at first. It's like learning options. It requires a bigger down payment of attention. But yeah, this one would be the ultimate in my opinion. But there's going to be more going on. You kind of have to interpret the ranges within the context of volatility. And I like using BBWP for this. So it's like you got multiple things going on basically. But if you can understand these, it really does the job. It really does the job. Anyways, let's see. Let's continue to march through this. Then we'll get into some actual Then we shall get into some actual analysis. No, all are equal, said the Asian massage. No, look, I understand that there is a degree of luck, obviously, but you can't control luck. You can't control luck. Everything else you can control, and whatever you can control, you should control. That is what it is, man. That's just the unfortunate reality. You can't make that fair. Krown, do you think that we will retest the low before the end of the month? Okay, so that is what the next. How many days are in August? Is there 4 days? Yeah, there is. Okay, there is 31 days. I don't know, man. If we go over here, if Bitcoin's going to retest a low, it should happen today or tomorrow, I would imagine. If it does or if it doesn't, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's really not that much of a differential between where it's at right now and the official low. I'm on an hourly time frame right now. It's really not going to even register on a daily or even a weekly, obviously. So if you're on the very, very low term time frames, you need to test the exact low. My intuition would say if it doesn't happen within the next couple of days, then no, it's just a bounce and it should go higher first. Yeah. And I do, is it going to test the exact low before the end of the month? No, I think that this is the low of the month. I think it's generally sideways and a bounce from here. But yeah, let's actually go over some actual price action analysis. Just one moment, sirs and sirs. Hate from South Africa. Nice. We need some more hate. I thought the HBDR was just for watching Bing and Bong setups. It does help with that as well. It's really multifaceted, honestly. It can do a lot of different things. All right, let's get through some Bitcoin over here. Let's start it off with some daily price action statistics. As always, when we get to this one loading up Wednesday, I believe we've actually already hit the range low, but let's see. I do have that in my notes from earlier today. Let me just double check because it is taking forever to load right now, which usually doesn't take this long. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Should I give it a refresh? Is TradingView going to embarrass me yet again? Terrible. Yes, there we go. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, so you can see yesterday did wick off the bottom of that average returns range low and also the high as well, by the way. Hit both the high and the low, settling in the middle there. So again, if you're using this to scalp, you had multiple chances yesterday. And I think that I would consider this really the test to the bottom side today already. The bottom side of the average returns range low is 111 even almost, and today's low is 110 even, and today's low is 110,443. So I'm inclined to say, no, this thing is bouncing off that region and probably going to attempt a bit of a sideways and upside bounce over these next couple of days, higher than whatever yesterday's high was. For the average returns range high for the gaining days, on Wednesday is actually the highest of any weekday, to be fair, but it is at 114,750. So do I think that we get that move today? Maybe, maybe not. I don't have super strong opinions on that, but I do think Bitcoin will get somewhere around there on this rally. Whether it happens today, tomorrow, or Thursday, that I don't fucking know. When we go over here to our lower term timeframes and look at some of our some of our momentum oscillators, we can see that there is many drives here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 now of phantom bullish divergence on the 4-hour RSI. So I would imagine that that's at least going to get up to the green moving average, which is about 113,400. Maybe even gets up all the way here to 113,700. Anywhere around there does make sense. Again, doesn't necessarily have to happen today. I wouldn't get super, I wouldn't cling onto that statement super strongly. Again, I could, does it come back down a little bit and then try that rally, or does it just try it from here? That I don't fucking know. But I do think that Bitcoin has more or less hit a low based off of a few different things. But the simplest of simple, and just to kind of wrap it up into one statement that I think is easiest to follow, is that, look, you have your weekly testing, that yellow 21 EMA. It almost always is going to bounce things on a time frame like this on the first pass after being away from it for a long time. This has been very consistent for Bitcoin throughout all market cycles. Again, it's not necessarily saying that you're going to see a reversal there. That does not hold true very often. In fact, the people who are looking for that, who have populated that or popularized that theory, are, I think, severely misguided. But it does provide the opportunity for at least a short-term bounce. And we actually did see the last major low being put in around that region over here. Anyways, so that does lead into a short-term bounce bias for myself. as Bitcoin does threaten a silver cross to the downside, which will inevitably be happening as long as Bitcoin's below 114. I still imagine it's going to take, another 3 to 4 days to actually get that one to officially cross. But yeah, it is in the cards and very likely will happen just given enough time. But moving on from there, I do want to get into some Fibonacci targets for potential bounce here. We'll take it two different ways. The first way is we'll measure from the last high based off of the price action pivots to the current low, and we can see what the most aggressive of these numbers are. One of them has already more or less been hit on yesterday's high at the 382. Now, the next most obvious ones are going to be the 50% retracement level, which is 113,150, which I do think has a decent probability to get hit in the 618, also probably in the cards as well at 114, 150. Above there, things, I guess it could come more if we did draw this out from the ultimate high to the ultimate low right now. That gets raised up significantly, obviously. The 382 level is still coming in around the mid 114. So I do look at that as a relevant area of interest, because if Bitcoin does get there, you actually would be expecting a lower high to be putting in there if this is like a really, really nasty downtrend, which I don't think it is right now. The 50% retracement level pretty much puts you on slightly lower highs at 116,500, and the 618, which is your traditional sort of bull trap area, is 118,300. So, it's this next rally, which I think is generally going to be a bull trap, is going to be difficult, as they always are. And the more difficult that they are is typically based upon how deep it gets. So I'm inclined to say it's probably going to get between these two ones right here, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but somewhere in that pocket there would make a lot of sense to me for an actual bull trap. But I wouldn't, like I said, get too caught up in that statement. If things are really nasty, then I guess you'd be expecting a rejection right around here. I don't think that things are that nasty, though. I do think that this is a correction, not a macro reversal. But again, I think it's going to take longer. And again, one of the major reasons why I'm looking at that is based off of this setup right here, which has now emerged. It's based off of the same damn setup that we've seen so many fucking times now, so many times. So I won't go over the prior times on this video, just because we've done that in plenty of prior videos. But in this case, the 3-day time frame, which is not closing today, but is closing tomorrow. So assuming that Bitcoin is basically anywhere below 113,750 by Thursday night's closure, then we will see the red moving average cross officially to the downside of the yellow moving average for the first time in a long time. And this one has the exact same interpretation as what we've seen in prior iterations throughout this bull market, which is a minimum correction, not maximum, but minimum correction, all the way down to the green moving average, which as of right now is still very low 106s, 106,400 about. So again, that is a minimum correction. As you can see over here, this one overshot it by a good margin. In fact, if we go from the moving average to the next low, that was a 15% move under the moving average. If we go over here from this one, from the moving average to the low, that was holy shit, that was a almost 20% move. This one over here, again, from the moving average to the low, about 10% or 11% almost. This one over here shot down how much? Shot down about, I'm trying to find somewhere that's comparable, close to 10%. It should be a little bit less than that, actually. This one over here was the least of them all, about 2.5%. So, I would say, again, that's a minimum target. It's never actually bottomed exactly there, except for that 2.5% one. I guess you could kind of say that is. But in general, the lowest below those was about 10%. So what would that look like? I'm just curious. I'm not saying it's going to come down here, but that would be, just for reference, $95,500. Now, to be fair, this cross has not happened just yet. And it is very possible Bitcoin does rally above 113,750 by the end of tomorrow. But even then, this is not a call for this move to happen immediately following that cross. We have seen this getting drawn out before, similar to what you saw over here, where Bitcoin did get a rally first and then came back down and fulfilled that condition. That can happen, and this did take a long time. From that actual cross happening to the test down to the 55, that was 51 days. It doesn't look like much on a 3-day time frame, but it is. That's close to 2 months basically. So do be aware that this can take a long time, and that's why I do think that there can be a rally that eats up a few weeks in between here. Maybe it ends up being something like this. Whoops, I did the wrong damn thing. I'm not trying to make text. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of there. But something like this, perhaps maybe, it eats up a couple weeks going like this. Then mid-September, you get your rate cuts, or your rate, or which typically does produce some downside price action, and then it actually comes down. And then by that time, maybe this green moving average is significantly higher. If it's somewhere like right around here, then maybe it's just another retest of that low. That's possible. but still, 10% lower than there is going to bring you to at some point about $100,000, I imagine. And I do think that that is a potential target for this corrective phase. Again, not to be hit anytime soon. If it is going to be hit, I would think we're still like fast forwarding at least a month out from about now, maybe even more than that. Anyways, moving on from there, just another reminder that all higher term time frame momentum oscillators are still suggesting, hey, this is not the time to be super aggressive. Yes, it is a time for a likely bounce. I think Bitcoin could bounce a lot from here as well. That's just, what Bitcoin likes to do, of course, maybe even back up to 118 as we went over earlier. But that is, again, showing, some long-term real toppy signals. Again, I'm not calling a cycle top. I don't want to be misheard on that. Just, one of these long-term corrective signals. The 8-day time frame is going to be closing, I believe, Thursday, on Thursday's close. And the 8-day time frame alongside the weekly, alongside the 5-day time frame, you can basically look at all of these around the same. But this one is the highest term time frame closing the soonest, is going to have a cross to the downside on the MACD, on the MACD. And anytime that we've seen an 8-day cross to the downside on the MACD throughout this cycle has been these big long-term corrective phases that have lasted many months and come down, a decent amount. So I would be, again, very much aware of that. It is possible that between today and tomorrow, Bitcoin does reclaim this number. It's not that far away. It's 112,550. But that's just the 8-day time frame. The weekly time frame will also likely follow through. 116 is the number on that one. That one closes on Friday for CME. And the 5-day time frame has already gone across the downside. And we have the same interplay over here, except there is one bad iteration where it did not play out well and did effectively call the low, which was the January 2024 dump coming off the back of the ETF release. So, if we get all of these things moving in the same direction, then I would say, again, we're probably looking at multi-month sideways and down. There will be rallies, obviously, for the lobotomized morons out there in the world. I'm not ever saying that things move in a straight line. That's just not how, first of all, that's typically not how markets move. And second off, that's not an indication of what I'm saying to begin with. But just the general direction is kind of what I'd be focusing on right there. Of course, moving on from there, we do have, again, all momentum oscillators on the very high term timeframes moving down simultaneously. Tell me that this is, a bigger corrected period. The lower end of the high term timeframe periods should be crossing up now, and the daily is. And the daily will actually continue up today above 112,200. So again, this is where I have to be super, 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 super careful with my wording because I can be easily misheard here. The short term is much more likely to bounce than anything else. I will, again, how long can the short term last? I don't know, maybe even a week or two. Very possible, heading into September for sure. However, after that, I'm not saying that I'm biased towards this thing making new all-time highs or nothing like this. And, if you do want to look for a traditional bull trap, you'd really want to see a higher high than this high right here. Because that's typically how bull traps happen. They take out the last recent high and then turn down before, obviously, in this case, the all-time high, of this cycle. So that's what a good bull trap would look like. And that's exactly how it looked like back on over here. That's exactly how it looked like back on over here in 2021. You can see this one, boom, makes a new all-time high, boom, smash down, gets a really powerful rally back up. This one did hit the 618 fib, and then it had the real markdown after that. So that's really what I'd be constant over here. And then, of course, we got the same thing over here, with that slight lower high first, and then back down, So, don't underestimate how long these phases can take. We, as in everyone here, including myself, have a massive bias towards what's actually happening this second rather than, looking at things throughout a more long-term lens, not typically realizing that what happens on a second by second basis has very little relationship to what actually happens by the close of even a daily time frame, which almost doesn't barely even matter to begin with for the long-term trend. Anyways, I also do want to bring this up as well. I don't think that this is going to play out in this fashion, but yeah, technically there is another 5-day volatility versus stochastic momentum setup brewing here. We have seen volatility go back down into full-on contraction phases. It is obviously not expanding as of right now, but if it were to expand, the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator is very strongly positioned to the downside, about to lose the bullish control zone for the first time in a very, very long time. If Bitcoin finishes its next period below 118 almost, that one again closes tomorrow night alongside the 8-day, alongside the 10-day. So a lot of things get kind of decided on that. Again, I'm not saying Bitcoin can't have a rally here. It definitely can, but that rally, I do think, will not make a new all-time high. I do think that it will top out lower than that 124 print. So again, just want to be aware of these more long-term facts here. And then of course, when we go back to our RSI chart, I mean, it's just, it really is this simple sometimes. You know, you got major drives of major bearish divergence on all of the last 3 highs. That's how all of the prior cycles I've actually topped out, to be fair. Again, I'm not saying this is a cycle top. It's too premature for me to say something like that, but you know, assuming the week finishes anywhere below 114, that bearish divergence drive will be confirmed. And, you know, a minimum target for this would be the yellow moving average. That's at 104 right now. Obviously, it's going to, you know, march up on the next period. So it should get to like, I don't know, 105, maybe 106. But yeah, you know, that would be a corrective target, minimum. And generally, when you get, you know, when you get like 3 to 4 drives of bearish divergence on any time frame, you don't just come down to the 21 EMA, you come down to the 55 EMA. So that's obviously going to be significantly lower, but I wouldn't necessarily be, again, that's not my first target or anything like this on this, you know, on this corrective phase just yet. I like to take things one step at a time, and realistically, $100,000 should be a big zone for Bitcoin. You know, if Bitcoin were to get down around there, anywhere close there, it should be a really big bounce before anything else. And I really want to give that sort of a bounce like it's due, you know, it's due to, you know, give it a chance to actually, you know, prove itself, because that would be very significant. But for right now, short term, more likely to bounce. How high can that bounce get? I don't know. You know, areas of interest, 114, 116, 118 and change are the big ones. Any lower high than like 118 and a half is still leading towards, you know, a high probability towards further downside on this corrective phase. Many signals do suggest that there's going to be a long-term correction as well. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what I have to focus on right here. So let's now get into Z-Con. Whoops. Oh, I have to hear my own fucking stupid voice. Hold on. Let me turn that off. That's nails on the chalkboard type shit. Let me get back to the comments over here. Just un momento. And I realized that Elsa's actually already sent me all of the chat. She's doing her job very well. Elsa deserves a raise. And when she gets raised, what should we pay her? I don't know. A nice hug. Anyway, Steven Schickman says, GM doggy, please give me something good. All right, I'm going to try my best. Wait, dogs are gay? Oh, hugs are gay. Hugs are not gay. Anyways, doggy, like my problem with doggy here is that there are several altcoins that are actually holding quite well and putting in decent rallies while Bitcoin continues to cling on to this range low. If Bitcoin shoots through the range low, I don't think that this thing is going to hold up well, man. Just to put it bluntly, I still think that this thing is more likely to come back down to 20 cents than it is to pop back up to 24.5 cents. I really don't actually have something good for you, to be honest, because I would put this in the category of weak shitcoins, comparatively to what I think we're going to see in many things today. Because there are many shitcoins, even from past cycles, that have been putting in decent constructive rallies. Now, these aren't rallies like to new all-time highs or anything like that, but at least, you know, they're putting in constructive uptrends on timeframes that matter. This one is not one of them, unfortunately. You know, the only thing that I have that's good for you here is that there is still hopium as long as the monthly is above that red 5 EMA, which is 20 and a half cent, which it is right now. So that's not terrible or anything like that. The bi-monthly time frame also is okay here, I suppose. So these are, you know, not bad, but that would still imply that short term probably does come back down somewhere around that number. The only way that I really say in the short term that this thing has proved itself and is going to join the rest of the market is if it does pop back up above last Saturday's high. So basically the same analysis that I gave you on Monday, which is 24.5 cent, and like a slight degree of hopium as long as it remains above the monthly pivot right here. Below there, then I only have doom to say for something like this. But for right now, like, I guess give it a chance, but this is not the one that I want to be holding at this time personally. You know, I think that this is just prior cycle garbage as usual, man, to be honest. But again, you know, you don't let my opinion influence you in any way like that. Cause if you have your own convictions about this thing, then fucking more power to you, man. But I can tell you that I will not be joining you on that trade. That's for sure. I do not share those same convictions. Yeah, man, if anything, I think that this thing's coming back down. And if it does break below 20 cents by end of month, I think that you're going to see mid-teens again, or 15, 16 cents again. maybe in September. So we shall see. We shall see. The only way that I kind of switch around my opinion again on this one is back above last Saturday's high. And then you also want to look at Doggy versus Bitcoin. This is going to be much more nasty, man. If you want me to tell you good things, we got to be looking at good charts, and this is not among them, unfortunately. All major moving averages are bearish on the weekly time frame. You are getting a nice little pop back up here in the short term, sure, but the downtrend is the downtrend. Does it get maybe another quick shot up towards 220-ish region? I think it's possible for sure, but again, long term, man, this is the chart. It's all a game of just finding the next pop that gets faded, because these pops do not last long at all versus Bitcoin. A few weeks at most, and then it's just looking for that next lower high. So if it does get another pop here, again, that's not my game. That's not my game. Maybe it pops up to 220. Maybe it pops up all the way to fucking 300. It's possible, I guess. It's not uncharacteristic putting these moves, but they all fail. That's my point. They all fail. So if you're holding something like this, it's a loser long term, big time, man. Just shooting you straight, man. Like when you look at this long term, it's on a long term trend towards zero. It has one pop here and then just down only since then, man. I really don't like these charts. They're really fucking bad in my opinion. Now, if there is one good thing I could bring up, which is admittedly some hopium here, there is some bullish divergence on Caretaker's RSI. It really would require this thing to finish this month above at least 195, preferably 200, honestly. And then maybe you get another one of these pump phases, but I would not be fading this trend, man. It's fucking bad. Anyways, Margot's, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? I don't want to hear any more laughing. Margot Zena says DKNG, weekly, monthly, all right. What are you laughing at? DKNG. DraftKings, okay, nice one. Okay, nice. Anyways, Margot Zena looking at DraftKings, really good actually, at least in the short term. I mean, in the short term, this is a monthly time frame, but you are higher term. I think it's going to retest this high here. I think it's going to make a new high as well. Monthly RSI is very healthy, even though weekly is pretty decent. I think that this one's like moving right now, to be honest. Quarterly, yeah, I think that this one's going to retest that $53, $54 high in the next 3 months. I think it probably makes a new high before end of year, above this high. Maybe not above this high, but after that, you're probably looking at low 60s. Pretty good. Pretty good. Danny says, SUI weekly, please, my good sir. Potential correction targets. Okay, so on the weekly, let's see. So first off, has SUI actually acted well during this time where some of the altcoins actually have been doing quite well? It would appear not. In fact, if anything, turning down here, a lot more similar in the short term to Dogecoin than it is to, I don't know, some of the better ones. Like I saw Cardano was doing okay. I don't know if it's still doing okay. We'll have to check on it later. But anyways, corrective targets, if we're just looking at the weekly, it would very obviously be about 290-ish, just below $3, somewhere around here. This is where your higher lows have been kind of coming in around since the April lows, the June lows, and then again here, good confluence with the 55 EMA as well. So if it does get down around there, I'd be looking for at least a bounce. Obviously, if it's a reversal, then it's a reversal, and this thing's heading back down towards much lower. But I guess if you are long-term bullish and you're looking for like a logical turnaround region, that would be it. I'm not saying it's going to turn around there. I'm just saying if there is going to be a long-term bullish case for this, that would be where it very likely comes in around like $2.90 to $3 basically. Looking at the daily right here, I'm really not getting much from the daily, to be honest. Quarterly time frame, I don't know. It's probably too early as well. Monthly time frame, similar to Dogecoin, it's like it still remains above the 5 EMA. So my rule is like don't get super bearish as long as you're above there. But it's a long 4.5 days left to go. It needs to remain above 330, which is not that far away right now, unfortunately. If it does come down below there before September begins, that would be my sort of this thing is falling apart signal. Until then, I guess. If it holds above there, I don't know. You do have some bearish evidence on the 5-day time frame right here. I'm inclined to say it probably comes down to $3, honestly. But does it happen before September or not? Because the timing of that does matter. Anyways, Bitcoin versus gold on the weekly. Yeah, we kind of already looked at that. I think that gold is going to gain versus Bitcoin here a little bit. Long term, I'd be bullish on Bitcoin versus gold. But here, I think it's going to come down to like 31 at least, maybe even lower towards 28.5. Monthly, assuming it ends something like this, which it only has 2 days left to go because the close is Friday, I would be looking for September to be a corrective month. with long-term upside later rather than continuation from here. That's just my take right now. So yeah, crypto hit list says, Krown, can you review Pundex? Review it? Just kidding. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. No problem, sir. Pundex, yes. I think it's not a request then. I do very poorly with satire. I do very poorly with sarcasm, even though I'm quite sarcastic myself. I'm very poor at like detecting jokes a lot of the time too. Just ask Elsa. She's constantly telling me, that was a joke. That was a joke. I'm like, okay. I'm definitely autistic to some degree. That's for sure. But, you know, I've always thought I was retarded, even since I was younger, man. I really did. When I was in high school and even junior high, I remember I would always be daydreaming. I'm like, what if I'm retarded and no one else is telling me and they're just being nice to me? And then someone would like be nice to me later in the day. I'm like, oh my God, it's true. And then, but then I came to the realization that, okay, I probably am retarded, but it doesn't really matter because I can't change it anyways, and then people are nice to me anyways, so that's a win. So I think it's working, honestly. Anyways, MicroStrategy. Let's check out MicroStrategy. So that's why I can't detect your fucking sarcasm, sir. Anyways, MicroStrategy here. Again, I really think that this one's topped for a while. I think that this thing's coming down at least to low 300s, like 310-ish region in September. Maybe even lower than that, towards like 270, but I don't think that this one's done going down. We have some bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. This is very clearly a rejective swing high with fall through to the downside. Again, there's going to be bounces and twists and turns along the way, just like Bitcoin. You know, maybe it bounces from here, maybe it doesn't. I don't fucking know, but I do think that is coming down later over time. So, you know, if we're on the daily time frame, I don't know, maybe retest this low, then it tries to bounce up to 370 or 380. I don't feel very strongly about that. What I feel very strongly about is the monthly, and assuming the monthly is anywhere below 360 by Friday, I'd be looking down, you know, just generally over the next couple months, for a correction to play out. So yeah. Anyways, Plonker 9366 says, morning sire, AMD analysis, low to medium time frame. Man, no one's brought up AMD in a long time now. Let's see. I'm an Intel homo, but I do understand that AMD, people love AMD. I've never really had great results with them. Not a terrible chart, much better chart than Intel, to be fair as well. Has it hit a swing high here? Probably yes, but I wouldn't say I'm like long-term bearish on this thing, man. But you are specifically asking low to medium time frame. Okay, so low to me means like an hourly in traditional markets. I don't know, it's kind of bear flagging out here on the hourly time frame. You know, maybe in the short term comes back down to like 162 region. More medium, we'll go to a daily. Yeah, you know, I do think that it comes down again to like 160-ish region, probably tries to bounce from there. Wouldn't necessarily say that I'm looking for a reversal on that bounce. I think that this thing is in more of a corrective move, but still long term, this is quite good. So yeah, quarterly is very, very good as well. In fact, I don't know, maybe I am being a little bit too prude on this one. You know, it probably comes back down around here, but probably bounces. But sorry, not probably bounces. Very likely bounces if it does get back down around there. I don't know. If I go to the weekly, I'm probably too high term time frame for you. So maybe that doesn't really matter. Yeah, kind of difficult there. Day Richland says, everyday watcher since 200 fucking subs. Amazing, man. I actually do remember Day Richland. Holy shit. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the positive vibes, sincerely. And I don't know, man. It's just the coolest thing to me when someone who is like here really from the beginning, because this channel was, basically was born, around that subscriber count. I don't know, man. It's crazy to think about, because like I said, I never intended for things to get like this. I'm not mad about it or nothing like that, but it's just crazy, man. It really is. It really is crazy. Let's see. Anyways, millions of emails as always. Propane Lantern says, from Myanmar, I think, do you feel S&P 500's hit a short-term top? I actually haven't looked at it at all today. Let's see. Look at SPY futures, and no, I don't think that right now. No. Calling tops on traditional markets it's a very hard game. I don't like to play that game. I think that this one's still going up. Do I think it's hit a short-term top? No. Not yet. I think it might make a slightly new high at 65.35, 65.40-ish region. then maybe it turns down. But like I said, trying to bet on tops in traditional markets, especially for the major indices, is not a wise game. The easy game is continuation of general upside, which this thing looks like it's poised to make new all-time highs, to be honest with you, man. No, I don't think it's hit a short-term top. Where would I say that it's hit a short-term top? I guess if it came back down below yesterday's low, but even then, the real low here is a price action pivot at 63.63. Easy to remember, but that's quite far away from current price action in the short term, at least. Get with the hype says analyze site September and that markets sell off. Wait, what? Sir, what the fuck? English, motherfucker. Analyze site. Okay, is this it? Is this what you want to look? I don't think that this is actually what you want to look at. Analyze site September and that market sell off. I don't understand I do not understand your version of English, sir. So I'm going to request a clarification and move on in the meantime. DC Cowboys says, hate from Dallas Fort Worth. Hell yeah, man. IWM, daily, weekly. Yeah, let's look at some of these mid caps here. I generally don't really look at these things. They're kind of like the shit coins of traditional markets, but yeah, looking quite good here. It's been a long time since we looked at these. I think that this one moves higher towards this 2024 high at 240-ish region. Probably backs off on the first attempt, but this is a real threatening chart to actually make new all-time highs after a little bit of a short-term pullback. You know, you have your higher low here. You already have a higher high. So retesting that high is... yeah, it probably produces a short-term pullback, but this thing very likely makes new all-time highs. This is good. This is quite good. Have a 235, 239 debit spread expiring September 19th. Okay, so let me just see these ones. 235, 239. I don't know, man. That's going to... I don't know what prices you paid for them. So it kind of makes it difficult to say anything, but I mean, those September 19, I'm guessing you mean calls, are going to start to turn to be all premium very soon. Once they're like 2 weeks out, man, you're going to lose a lot of that premium. I would personally probably be looking to get, I think that this thing is going up, but I don't know, the volatility is going to kill you on that if it pulls back at all. That's the problem with being long options, man. I don't know. I don't know your prices, man. I have stops at 227. Oh, I think you're on the right side of this, man. I think you're on the right side of this. Just does it happen within your time frame? I'd probably want that a little bit further out, to be honest. But again, I don't know the specifics of your situation exactly. Gallo says, GM, I never chase pumps, but is there a way to find stuff that can pump like CRO? Any technicals on the weekly that could find them? Or am I a le moron? Well, it is very possible that all of these things are true. It is also possible that none of them are true. We may never know. It is Schrodinger's analysis. Look, with these things that pump, straight up out of nowhere, it's very seductive, right? Because you're like, holy shit, if I was just in this thing, I would have gained, this thing's gone up, I don't know, like 80%. It's a lot. Very, very fast. Very, very seductive, obviously, because who doesn't want gains like that? No shit. How can you find the ones that are setting up like that? It's very difficult, man. It's very, very difficult because these charts, that look like this are significantly more likely to go down than they are up. So you're playing a game of significant chance here. And I would say you got to be an insider, probably. That would be the edge. If you're looking for technicals, obviously low volatility, but low volatility in a downtrend probably leads towards more downtrend. That's the problem with these things, man. You look at the one winner, but you don't look at the 99% losers that have these sort of setups. So unless you're an insider, I think playing games like this are just way too fucking difficult. I don't know, maybe you have some sort of an edge in fundamental analysis. Maybe that makes it possible. Although I see most people go broke doing it that way than making a shit ton of money. So yeah, man, it's like survivorship bias here. You're going to see the one or the very few that do something like this, whereas the overwhelming majority do not. And, if you try to play that game without some sort of an insider edge, which is probably illegal, I think it's just going to lead towards long-term losses, to be honest, man. Propane Lantern says, what percentage of your net worth is long-term Bitcoin hold versus short-term trading? Oh, it's nearly almost all long-term hold now, to be honest, man. I was calculating it out the other day. It is less than 3% for trading. I am really switching into more of a long-term investor. That's why I've started to focus my content a little bit more on long-term analysis. That's why I've started to, document my thoughts and try to really trail my journey as a long-term investor, because still I'm really a novice in long-term investing, man. It's been, I guess, 6 years now, 6 years since I really started in that regard. So that is pretty low in terms of experience. I mean, the true like OGs of long-term investing obviously have 30, 40, 50 years of experience. So how much do I really have there? Basically nothing, worth fuck all, also within the context of a mega massive bull market. But I do hope to learn more, and I do hope to share that information, because it's honestly a selfish process, man. Whenever I share my information, I honestly just understand it better. And if I understand it better, then that's a great value to me. So yeah, what percentage of my net worth is long-term Bitcoin hold? Almost all of it. Versus the trading stack. Of course, if you factor in traditional market holds, then that ratio goes down significantly. Gallo says, did you once say all strategies long-term stop working? Well, when looking at MetaSignals worst strategies, could they start working, or is it Gamber's fallacy? It's, statistics are statistics, man. So it's not that they start working. It's statistics, man. You have to understand that. As far as long-term, I don't know if I would stand by that statement, because I think it's true in a certain sector. I don't think it's true for everything. I think if you are trading lower term timeframes, like under an hourly time frame, then I think every strategy will have a shelf life, because the dynamics of those timeframes generally change. And when the volatility regime changes a lot, I think it's hard for most strategies to remain consistent in that way, because that's what really is going to drive those sort of things. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you're a trend trader. Maybe you can make it work. So I guess maybe it's not fully true. I think in the higher term timeframes, you can find strategies, especially more long-term ones, trend trading ones, that will hold up longer than you will ever need. That I definitely think is true. But if you're talking about like, short-term scalp trading strategies, that's where I say dynamics can change for sure. Now, those strategies might last for a long fucking time, man. I mean, shit, they could last. You might have a 4-hour strategy that lasts you 15 years. Possible, Depends on a lot of things, of course. Straight Path says, GM Krown, can you please take a look at CIFR? Is this CRISPR? CIFR. No, it's CIFR. CIFR, CRISPR. New highs on the on the rally, which is good, and basically retesting your old high of the cycle, so also very good. Does it pull back again from this number? I don't know if it does or doesn't, but I have a very strong bias towards this one continuing. It looks similar to, I think, the Russell chart in the short term. You have a higher low here. You already retested the prior high. I think it's very likely to break to the upside. Do you have an inverted herp and derp here? Kind of, yeah, I guess. I think that this thing's, whatever it is, I think it's going up. Yeah. So maybe a short-term pullback at like 7 3/4. I think if you're high-term time frame, though, it's going to bust on through there. More long-term. Does that really encapsulate a daily? Yeah, daily should pull back around this region, I guess. Weekly, monthly, quarterly, those things are going to push through most likely. Overall, looks pretty good to me. Anyways, let me get on to the comments over here. All right, let me take a sip of this water, then we'll get to some more of these comments. Suo Deep Ray said, is that really your name? Deep? Okay, I'm just going to call you Deep Ray, man. That's way easier. Sorry, I apologize. But so are you saying if I'm trading the 15-minute time frame, I should be changing my strategies according to the market dynamic? It depends what your strategy is, but generally, there are ways to set up your strategies that will account for changing market dynamics. It's going to have to be based in some way off of volatility, because that is kind of like the lifeblood of a scalping strategy, and like how you can actually standardize it in a way. But it need to also be, oh man, this gets like way too theoretical, and I don't even know if it's true. Okay, generally, I would say yes. At some point in time, it's going to have a shelf life. Yes, I would say that. That's probably going to be correct for 95% of people. For the 5% of people who are doing like very sophisticated shit with statistics and volatility, you could draw that out, I guess. But that's going to be a lot more involved, of course. Have you seen the armature works on Riverwalk yet? Yeah, man. I love Riverwalk. It's beautiful. It's super beautiful. Honestly, I'm really surprised by how much it rains in Florida during the summer. In fact, it's like the summer is basically winter because it doesn't really get cold here, but like some days it just rains all fucking day. It really does, but it's really gorgeous, really beautiful, and it's not like terrible to be outside in the rain, honestly, because it's not cold. It's not so bad. All right, D Lee Crypto wants to look at DSync. We can look at DSync. I can't promise I have anything nice to say about it, but I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it does have a great chart. You never know with these things. Nope, it has an absolutely terrible chart, man. My God, one of the worst charts of the day. One of the absolute worst charts of the day. Amazing. Sir, you have won the award for most redacted chart. In fact, this one looks like it just hit yet another lower high in a series of lower highs that continues to go lower and lower and lower over time. Amazing. Tell him what he's won. You have won a liquidated portfolio if you are on leverage, or if you open door number 2 and you're holding spot with a stop loss at fucking 0, you will at some point lose 99.9% of everything. Amazing. Look, I don't know if all that's going to happen again. Maybe you're an insider, but I'm looking at this as the next lower high on the weekly alongside the 55 EMA rejection. This is bad. It's fucking ugly. And we've seen many altcoins that have acted well, and this thing does not. So during a time when you expect good altcoins to act well, or at least the strong ones to act well, and this one's not, that is a very bad sign, in my opinion. Like, very fucking bad sign. Could you check out Costco? Hell yeah, man. I love Costco. We love Costco. This is the best company ever. I need to buy this thing. I don't even care what price it is. I'm fucking buying it. I fucking love Costco, man. It's amazing. It's seriously. You Europeans are so deprived and so disgustingly Euro poor because you don't have Costco. You don't have Costco, and I don't blame you. You don't even know how good Costco is because you don't know how bad you have it.
I think they have it in New York somewhere, actually.
I'm asking chat. Okay. Elsa is going to ask ChatGPT if Europors have Costco. I'm going to assume that they don't. I do think it's going to come down here, to be honest. I do think that you are putting in something resembling a high, and it comes down to like 880 or so. But long term, this is an absolutely amazing chart. Compare this chart with all of the shitcoin charts that we've seen mostly today and basically during every stream. They are the exact opposite. They look like this. Oh, wow, amazing. Guys, it goes down all the time. Where do I invest? Amazing fucking company. They don't even really have any working product. They have a white paper that reads like a marketing paper, and I don't even understand what the fuck that one says. But you know what? I heard that if I buy, my equity will 5x overnight. You have a fucking great company right in front of your face. The winners keep on winning, baby. The winners keep on winning. Costco is a winner. Costco is a fucking winner. I don't even know if it's going to pull back that much, to be honest. If it does.
They have 5.
Okay, there's 5 Costcos in Europe. Congratulations, you deprived Europors. There's fucking 5 Costcos in Tampa.
There's one in Iceland.
There's a Costco in Iceland? They need to get rid of that thing immediately. Like, pull out of there. Those Iceland people, they do not deserve it at all. Get out. Get out. Get out! Anyways, Costco. Let me actually answer your question. Long term, medium term, I do think that this thing is consolidating. You're going to be living below 1,000, but above, 850. How long does it spend within that range? I don't fucking know. But this thing, if there's one thing that is very consistent, it likes to go up. Okay, maybe it does correct lower. Maybe it does correct a little bit lower, but overall, I'd still be bullish on this thing long term, man. There is going to be bearish divergence on the bi-monthly chart, as is the quarterly as well. So yeah, I guess you could correct here, maybe down to like $800 or so, which is actually quite a big move from where you're currently at, about 15% move. I'm going to put an alert there, or actually I already have an alert there. Let me put another one a little bit higher because I would love to buy some long-term Costco. I love fucking Costco, man. I love fucking Costco. Everything about it. It's Assy says CYFRD. Costco in Greece. Really? It's in Athens? Okay, well, Greece is a great place. Okay, we love Greece. Greece can have Costco, but Chat says it doesn't. Chat honestly does not get stuff like that too well, to be honest. Like, you have to go to Grok for those ones. CYFRD, terrible. This is a major high right here. Absolute major high. Whatever hopium that this thing had before, I think is gone. Now, similar to Bitcoin, do I think that you're going to have bounces? Yeah, I think that you're going to have a bounce, maybe even around here. You're around some major moving averages. I highly doubt it's just going to shoot right through them to the downside. If it bounced back up to like $12 or even 14, $15, I think that would look good, but bearish as long as you're below this last weekly high. So I think you could have made an excuse for it over here because you still had higher lows and an uptrend. It has destroyed that, and now this really looks like, just yet another shitcoin chart, to be honest. So yeah, it's like short term, does it bounce? Probably yes. Long term though, I think that this thing is dunzo sunzo for a very long time, whatever the hell it is, whatever this may be. Craden C has the best comment of all time. But why buy winners when losers are so cheap? I mean, they are cheap for a reason, but what if? Yes, but what if? Exactly. What if a random miracle happens and Jesus comes down and blesses my shitcoin? That's right. I actually saw on a piece of toast earlier the face of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and he let me know that this was a sign that Herpcoin is going to the moon. Amazing. Amazing. Let's see. Solana. There's 29 Costco's in the UK, but oh my God. Okay, that is what Trump. Yeah, are they big? Are they like actually Costco, or are they just like some sort of mini mart, fucking quick mart shit? Solana. We can look at Solana really quickly. I think actually Solana was one of the better acting ones. Let's see. Yeah, it's back above $200. So yeah, this is my point, is that there are some shitcoins that are actually taking this opportunity to put in some constructive rallies. This one has a daily uptrend, hidden bullish evidence on the last low. I think this thing is getting ready to push deeper, closer to like 220-ish region. Yeah. Monthly, not terrible. Quarterly, not terrible. But what about the bi-monthly? Also not terrible. So yeah, I'd definitely give this one a chance. So this is kind of my point, is that, the good things right now are taking this opportunity to rally. So if your favorite shitcoin is not rallying, I think that that's a very bad sign. Yeah, they're hypermarket size Costco's in the UK. What the fuck, man? All right, well, that's the leverage that Trump needs to apply to the UK to make them step in line. Is, look, we're going to get rid of your fucking Costco's, so no more jailing people for social media posts, or else. Can't believe shit like that used to be on TV. Yeah, the Jesus toast and Miss Cleo. What are you trying to say, Gallo? What are you trying to say? UNH, looking for a long-term hold. Do you think the daily gap at 274 would be a good entry, or long-term, do you think it goes lower? I don't know. What I can tell you is I really, really, really wanted that 250 print over here, but I herpity derped it. Look, I think that it might go lower than 270. I don't fucking know, but overall, I don't think that it's going lower than its current low, or at least this is a bottoming area. Like, I don't know if this takes another year or two or whatever, but I would imagine at some point you're going to be much higher, closer to $500. So, do you want to get super cute with trying to get maybe like 10% better here? I mean, maybe that's worthwhile for sure, but I do think that this is a low. This is a major, major low. Quarterly, again, it's like, I personally would not want to get too greedy. I do think, again, you might get another move down to 270. That's fine, but I would not want to get too greedy on something like this, man. And you'd have to be very, very long term. Kira Stalin. He is really some fucking lizard looking fuck. The Prime Minister of the UK. He's also definitely a closet homo for sure. And I don't say that as like a derogatory thing. It's just, you look at him, queer Stalmer. It's in the name. Krown, if you had to rank top 5 altcoins, what would they? I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Look, all of them have like their day in the sun, and then they die basically. If I'm going off of what we've seen on the stream, there's been like a couple that looked better than others, but I wouldn't make statements like that, man. I don't think that many of these things, if any of them, really have long-term staying power. I mean, shit, the best one, Ethereum, can't even beat Bitcoin for the last like 10 years almost. It's So what's best? I mean, it really is what Michael Saylor says. It's like there is no second best. I mean, you're just losing. Do you want to lose value faster versus Bitcoin or slower? It's kind of the game, man. That's at least how I see it. If you're holding for the long term, if you're trading short term, then you can tear apart that statement because, of course, there's going to be things that have pops all the time. It's just the long term staying power of 99.999% of these things is close to zero. Griffitron 3000 says thoughts on PSGDP, PSGDP, Palestine GDP. Oh God, it doesn't exist. Crazy. I'm not. Oh no, we need to go to a 12-month, yearly time frame. I'm actually curious to see this. Damn, they've had some pretty big expansions. What the hell? They went up 10,500%. Amazing. GDP going a little bit lower. I wonder what happened here. I wonder what happened there. Long-term popper buy the dip. Do you really? Yes, go ahead and invest there, man. I'm sure it'll be appreciated. Can't take away Heinz ketchup from the UK. We make our own. Fair enough. You guys can have the ketchup. I know that you guys love to put it on your steaks, which is absolutely horrendous, terrible, abhorrent behavior. That's the real reason why the US and the UK need to divorce. Kidding. Okay, the UK are friends. We love the UK. All right, we love the UK. The UK and the US are like Gondor and fucking Rohan. It's just the most epic of friendships, the most epic of brotherships. But unfortunately, the UK is, they're a little bit down right now. The US needs to help them out a little bit. Send them some freedom yet again. If you're old enough, you remember the Warrens, who had a demon hunting exorcist show. Actually, I do not remember this, but I would love to watch this, man. By the way, me and Elsa and I have found the best TV show. Okay, so I'll let you in on a secret. Since we came here, we got this TV that for whatever reason gives you like access to free live TV, which I haven't watched live TV in 10 years, maybe. It's been a long time, man. It's been a really, really long time. And there's a lot of channels. And so we went channel surfing the other night under the right circumstances, and we found a very good channel. It was called Divorce Court, okay? And Divorce Court, let me tell you, Divorce Court is it's an amazing show, okay? The people who thought of this, they are geniuses. First off, it's real, which is the biggest surprise because it is literally fucking real. Second, they find the best people ever. We saw a dispute between actually multiple lesbian couples. Now that I recognize it, there's a lot of lesbians on that show in Divorce Court. Very progressive show, I guess. Also usually of a certain color, which seems, strange to me. Why? It's propagating stereotypes, maybe. Who knows? But these fucking lesbians are always cheating on each other. The judge is also great. The judge, oh god, the judge is great too. Propane Lantern says, "Are you open to making a HFT service, high frequency trading service for your audience that has market making algorithms arbitrage?" Okay, so I've been asked this question many times, like basically something along the lines of, will you open up some sort of a fund that basically you trade for me? No, I'm not going to do that for many reasons. One, I am completely happy with my financial situation. I'm not interested in taking on more risk from other people's money, which is just added pressure. I would not feel good about losing any amount of other people's money. I don't mind losing my own money because like I understand how trading works. I understand, it's going to come back later, most likely. I understand the long term. But if I'm trading general audience, sort of money, and they're not going to understand, and I lose some of it, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. I already don't sleep at night if like I make a bad call, and I don't even make bad calls because all I'm doing is I'm just reading the fucking statistics. But if those statistics, go for the less likely thing to happen, I'm like, oh my god, I fucking suck. I'm terrible. I should stop. I need to kill myself. I need to end everything right now. I think like that. I'm not even joking. So I would never do that. I don't want the added issues. And, Jesus Christ, man, like people who create funds, they get sued all the time and shit like this. I don't want none of that, man. I don't want none of that. Look, I am more than happy to trade my own money. I don't need anything on top of that, man. I'm very, very happy with where things are right now. trading other people's money is just a big fucking headache. And honestly, I would say anyone who is looking to trade other people's money I would be very fucking skeptical, because I personally, okay, maybe other people would disagree. I'm sure that they would. But personally, I do not see that there is more upside in trading other people's money than not. But don't worry, there'll be a scam bot in the comments that'll be like, hey, send me 1 Bitcoin, I'll send you 2 back. It's like, look, man, no one's gonna fucking do that who actually knows how to trade. They are fine trading their own money. They are fine trading their own money. What's up, Whiskey Fishing? Good to see you, man. It's been a long time. Another OG of this channel. Another fucking OG of this channel. Amazing. My man, that's really, really awesome to hear. More power to you, dude. Very much more power to you. What other show? Love After Lockup. That's another great show too. They find, well, it's exactly as the name would state. Finding love after being locked up in the penitentiary. Yeah, it's really good. We also found Teen Mom channel. Great. We saw like a 12-year-old dad yesterday. Very concerning. Very concerning. Okay. We need better fathers in this world. We need better fathers. Very fucking bad. Oh my God, man. Like the disasters that are everywhere. Anyways, I'm perfectly capable of losing my own money. That's right, man. That's right. Let's see. Yeah, in Asian massage reviews actually just made the point that I was really trying to get towards that I completely whiffed on. You get a couple of % of what you make. I mean, look, I'm more than happy to trade your money if I get all of the gains and then you get nothing, and that's fine. That's fine by me. But for a couple %, like, not worth the added headache, man. I'm sorry. Like I said, I really have spent a lot of time thinking about this because I've been asked so many times now. I would be super, super, super fucking skeptical about anyone who is offering that sort of a service. Just like knowing what I know from behind the scenes. I think it's really fucking suspect. What car do you drive? I don't even have a license, actually. How do you feel now? Cardano for Jojo. Yeah, we can look at Cardano really quick. Whoops. Cardano has been one of the better actors recently. Let's see if it's still holding it up or if it's losing its luster. Does have some hidden bullish divergence here, so I guess it does have a little bit of a chance in the short term. It looks weird to me, though. I think I'd still be going off the monthly here, though. I think I'd still be going off the monthly and say the same thing as I did with Dogecoin. As long as it's above all major moving averages, I can't hate it or anything like this. I do have my skepticism towards it. That daily drive of hidden bullish divergence just disappeared as well. So, you know, I'm not getting anything like super obvious here. If I had to guess, I think some more sideways. Quarterly looks okay. Yearly, I don't know what to make of. I really don't have a strong read on this one, to be honest, ma'am. If anything, all of the higher term timeframes look in a good position for further upside, but the lower term timeframes look kind of sideways to me. So maybe that aligns with another try to the upside, maybe in September, something like that. Yeah, Zonker says, just learn how to invest. I mean, look, here's what I can tell you as well. You don't even want someone to fucking high frequency trade for you, because guess what, man? You can get probably, if they even are making money, by the way, if they even are making money, because by the way, just because you're trading for someone else doesn't mean you're going to make money. But even if they are making money, think about it. You can go invest in the S&P and you'll make 8 to 10% a year, something like this. On average, okay, not always, obviously. You could have that as a very low risk thing, not paying the fucking, the service fee, whatever it is, the 1 or 2%, which really does eat up your gains, by the way. And you can go invest in the S&P for free, basically, through a Vanguard account and get all of those gains. And you're probably going to be either slightly outpacing those people or massively outpacing those people. Because guess what? If you invest in the S&P 500, you're going to outperform like 90%, I think, or maybe even more than 90% of fucking hedge fund managers. Like, just buy and hold. Seriously, if you're the average person, really just even on the internet, really anywhere, unless if you're literally the 0.01% of absolute fucking crazy people who wants to learn how to trade, which I love these people, by the way, because I am one of these people, but we are fucking crazy. Like, you're a crazy person if you want to do that. unless you're that person, just fucking buy and hold. I'm telling you, you're going to be fine. Don't try to get cute with shit. Just buy and hold Bitcoin, buy and hold S&P, buy and hold Nat or triple Qs, whatever the fuck, major indices you want to do. That's fine. Like, you're going to outperform most of these fucking idiots to begin with because they think that there's, they can outsmart the market with some advanced mathematics, which is all theoretical to begin with. What I've really found the more and more after doing this over time is that if you want the Pareto principle of best output for the lowest amount of effort, just fucking buy and hold. Seriously. I mean, that's literally what I'm switching into myself right now. Yes, I do make some long-term investment decisions and I will trade around positions, absolutely. But for the most part, it is long-term 5, 10, 15-year holds. And, yes, it doesn't really make sense to do that when you have maybe a lower financial situation. But once you hit a certain point, no, go ahead and do that. And at the very least, it can help you build anyways. So, yeah. Gingerbread Man or Gingerbird Man? Can we get a reading of ASTS stock? Okay, nice. ASTS. This is from the AST Space Mobile. Space Mobile, huh? You're looking at a 4-hour and a daily. Okay. Let's see what a daily looks like. Overall, consolidating, off of the back of this pretty decent rally. I think you probably hit a little bit of a swing high right here, and it probably comes back down to like $46. It's not bearish though. It is bullish overall. Maybe something like this comes down a little bit, puts in a higher low, and then tries to get into the upside. Yeah. Something like that. Something like that would make sense. Just not bearish as long as you're above $42. Below $42, okay, things change. But until then, I think that you're going to come down maybe close there. Maybe somewhere down around here, but I do think it's likely to bounce from that region. It's Aster. Sorry, it's Asti. Jesus, I'm just terrible with names right now. Fathers who teach what is redacted 12-year-old son. Wait, what? Oh, you're talking about the teen mom thing, yeah, with the 12-year-old. He looks like he was 12-year-old. I don't know. It's really hard to tell with black people, honestly. He might have been fucking 20. He might have also been 5. Like, I'm just cutting it to the middle there. He looked really young, though. I'll say he was very, very young. He was very young, and a very wide vocabulary as well for such a young man. I'll say. Do you have any retirement accounts or only brokerage accounts? Only. Actually, I did just get with a new accountant, and he's kind of awared me on all of the amazing tax benefits that you can get by having all of these like exotic investment accounts, basically. And he told me about something, and he was like, "Look, I don't know why no one fucking knows about this, but this is literally the best thing that you can do to reduce your taxes. Get something called a deferred. Was it deferred benefit plan? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. I need to find this really quickly. Deferred." No, hold on. I will find this. This is actually really, really important for the people who happen to give a fuck about these sort of things. Yeah, defined benefit plan, DBP, defined benefit plan. And basically, you can invest anything as much as you fucking want, and or can afford to, into a defined benefit plan. You have to hold it for 10 years. And then you can actually do some after that to continue to hold it. But you have to hold it for about 10 years at least. And you can use your contributions to that plan as an expense, for taxes. So, look, a good accountant, it is worth every fucking cent. I just got with this accountant, so I probably wouldn't recommend him just yet until I can actually start to see the results. But if it's going to work in the way that he says it's going to work, which it seems like it is, because from my studies, that is the law. Who the fuck wouldn't do that? Yeah, it's for self-employed. I'm not a tax advisor. This is not tax advice. What's the best way to buy the S&P for a guy who's just learning the TradFi world? Start up a Vanguard account or any of the major brokers. Vanguard's, probably one of the best ones, to be honest, just because they typically don't have transaction fees. Very, very low fees there in general. Very easy to get set up. Very easy to do things as an individual. And just buy fucking whatever allegory to the S&P you want. VOO is their ticker, I believe. VTI and VOO are the two ones that they do. I have many accounts, says Asian Massage Reviews, retirement, 401k, Roth IRA, 4 cash accounts, each for different sectors, and 4 margin accounts, different sectors. Jesus Christ, man. Look at the deferred benefit plan, man. Probably would solve some issues for you, it sounds like, because you are investing in everything and more. But the problem with those like IRAs is that you really can't put that much into them. That's actually who. That's exactly who I got this guy from, Asian Massage Reviews, Mr. Kohler. I fucking love him, man. I love that guy. You know, honestly, I probably should have become an accountant because that stuff is fun as fuck. Really is, man. Can you look at silver? Sure. Let's check it out. I imagine I would guess it's doing well, but let's see. Yeah, it is doing very well. We were bullish on this thing way back on over here. It is following through. And I think it follows through more, man. This is very, very good. This is powerful. This thing might even retest all-time highs in the next like year or two. Yeah, very, very good. Very, very good. I can remember when my employer provided us with a defined benefit program. They don't seem to do that anymore. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. All love from Saudi, but what about the hate, sir? But what about the hate? No, we love you as well, sir. We love you as well. I really wish that we went to Saudi Arabia when we were living in Dubai, man. Saudi seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed so cool. Watch Naked Gun. Yeah, I fucking love Naked Gun. IOU or IOUSDT on daily and weekly. All right, I think we're actually getting to the end of this thing as well. IO.net. Very bad. Maybe the worst chart we've seen today. In fact, I think it is the worst chart we've seen today. No, there was another pretty shitty one too, but this one's very, very bad as well. Yeah, man. It's going to the moon on the inverted chart. Hood. Let's look at Hood. Robinhood. I forget what this one looks like. It's not something that I really follow myself. Very good. I do think it's probably setting up for a correction here, just because you do have some bearish divergence 1, 2, 3 drops on these last few highs. So some sideways and down, but you know this is good long term. I think it's good long term. Check out Stick Figure. Oh, and you like reggae. Oh, I thought you said something else. We haven't moved back here just yet, Mr. Gallo. We're still checking things out, man. Honestly, no decisions have been made at this time. All right, yeah, I think. Okay. I think I think we've hit just about everything today. All right, Link. This is the last one. Link from Mr. Ralph Serbone. I think this one has been one of the better looking shitcoins as well. Yeah, but it is getting the pullback we spoke about. And I do think it might pull back a little bit more. Maybe it gets close to like $20-ish. I don't know. But overall, I think that this thing is setting up for a try to 31 and higher, maybe in like September, October region, something like this. But in the short term, sideways and down. Maybe it comes down to $20. I don't know. Or sorry, $21, somewhere around there. Not a strong opinion on that. Strong opinion is on the higher term timeframes here, which as of right now look quite good. Let's see what the bi-monthly looks like really quickly. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna hate that in the short term. All right. That is where we're going to end things for today. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who joined in on this nice little live stream. We'll be back on Friday, continuing with the schedule of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Like I said, it's possible we do lower the time. No, we do make the time a little bit later, move it a little bit back in the future. But for right now, I'm really liking this time, really like the conversations going on, really liking the community who's joining in here as well. Makes it really, really fun for me. So I just want to say a massive, massive thank you for joining in. And yeah, we'll be back at it tomorrow with another just regular video announcement, and then live stream on Friday. And then we'll pick it up after that. With that said, take care and see you soon. And Elsa would like to say something. Elsa would, you don't want to say it? Elsa's a little bit too shy. If I turn off the camera, do you want to say it? All right. Take care.